How do you get your kids to run? How do you get your kids to run? Let's find out. So I found a article
from healthyfamilymatters.com,
and our kids were runners as kids.
They were.
They're 17 and 14 now. They're very active in sports. They're very talented in sports, especially our son. But at 6 years old, 5 years old, 7 years old, they were runners. They ran a lot, and they liked running. And they don't run as much as they used to because they're involved with a lot of things. But Justin, he ran a half marathon at 6 years old.
Yes.
And did some really impressive races up to a 20-miler, all under the age.
It was like 18 hilly course, right?
30K, 19 miles.
Okay.
All under the age of 10 years old. So how do you get your kids to run? Let's see what this article says. 7 tips to introduce your children to running.
Yes.
So how do you introduce children to love running? A child is always a child, and they're easily excited by doing particular things with the same speed.
They will get disinterested very fast. You have to learn a few aspects that would make kids want to run. Some of these factors are a promised reward, and I think that was definitely for our son. At the end, he got rewarded,
yes,
and he got prizes, and every time he'd get something, he'd want to do more.
He wanted to do more.
Being with friends and having fun and not forgetting some sense of ownership in the whole game. Below are a few interesting ideas to help your child to develop an interest in running.
All right, number 1, how to make it fun. How do you make it fun?
In order for your kids to have fun, you must be a jovial person and ready to have fun with them too. And I think that's what started us and started our children in running, was because we wanted to stay active with them.
Do you remember the very first time Justin ran? He wasn't even 5 years old yet.
He was just shy of 5 years
and he
old.
was 4 years old, and he wanted to run around the block.
Yes.
He wanted to run around the block because at that age, and even before that, he would ride his bike, and I would run just a mile around the neighborhood, and he'd follow me on his bike. And it was a great friend to get out. Well, he saw Dad run, so he was like, I want to run. And we've always ridden bikes because I've always been a bike. As a kid, I had a lot of bikes, and I'd put them on the back and pull them around the neighborhood. And so being active was nothing new.
Right. So organize surprises for the children and do something out of the normal routine. Come up with fun runs like a hill run, a night run, a festive day competitive run, a culture run, among others. Sometimes do your warm-up in a different style, like getting them out of town. Also do your warm-up on a different game, like cycling, jogging, dancing, among others. In essence, kids don't like the same routine day in and day out. They get bored very easily, so you must be creative.
Do you remember Justin's, was it his 6th birthday party?
Oh yeah, we went on a hike.
Went on a hike.
It might have been his 7th. Might have been 6 or 7.
He was young.
Yes.
He was kindergarten. It was kindergarten, so he was 5 or 6.
He turned 6, yeah.
So we went hiking around the lake up on top of the mountain here, and not many of the parents could go.
No.
Because the parents weren't fit or could even walk or something. Unfortunately, my parents weren't able to walk up and around. But he thought that was a lot of fun to go on a picnic.
But the other kids didn't quite think it was so fun. Some of them went, but some of them were like, why did you want to go hiking, Justin?
And we hiked to the top of this mountain. It was only like a 300, 200-foot elevation gain. But it was still, you had to go up in the beautiful lake on top of
I don't think we even ended up around the 3-mile hike. I think we ended up at the top and then back down.
I think we turned around, which we probably did 2.5 miles, maybe 2 miles.
Yeah.
But that's what he wanted to do. It was fun and interesting. Yes. So things like that for your kids' birthdays, instead of going to Chuck E. Cheese and playing games.
Do some fun things.
Do some fun things, yeah. Number 2, what about ownership?
It is recommended for any activity done with the kids to let them own it. Let them make the decisions, not mommy or daddy this time. Oh, and we see that all the time with our son. It has to be their idea.
Yep.
Well, this is good. You're learning something here. Listen to them and give them some sort of freedom and opportunity to express themselves. Let them know it's their game and not your game. When it flows like this, they actually open up and get to learn and understand them better. And this makes it easier to discover their weaknesses, which will give you a platform to be able to help them get better. Don't make them feel like running is a program they must participate in, but rather it is a choice one has to make and pursue depending on what they would like to achieve. You can take it up as a career, for fun, or just to stay healthy and fit. 3.
Step number 3.
Friendships. Are my friends coming? Team spirit is the secret here. Just like adults, when kids cooperate and work towards a certain goal in one spirit, they are secure and all energized for whatever challenges is ahead of them. To attain this team spirit, organize team bonding events that will help the team to strengthen their friendships and stand for each other no matter what. Events like birthday parties for each team member would be a great avenue as you ensure everyone's participation.
So, friendships. Remember Justin had one of the friends that used to run the races?
Yep.
And that was like
and they became competitive with each other.
They became competitive, and he lived over like 30 minutes away, and
yep.
they called each other here and there. This was before cell phones, obviously. Before he had a cell phone.
Before he had a cell phone.
But they were like 7, 8 years old, and
yeah.
they were both in the running. So he had made another friend from another town. But, you know, in official races, because getting your kids to run with you for fun in official races are different. In official races, there aren't that many kids that go really to races in these younger categories in some of these races. But like here in Ellenville, we have a fun run for kids.
Yes.
That happens every spring, and we get like 100 or so kids out to that. The nursery school gets involved, and it's a really good day. It introduces kids to running at a very young age, at like 3, 4, 5 years old. They just run up the block. It's nothing strenuous.
It's not fun.
It's just a race. But then, like for the little older kids, they have like a 1K race, which is, you know,
and then of course it goes to the 5K.
Then you go right to the 5K, which is a race that we direct.
Yes.
So number 4, is there a reward for me?
Come up with a reward system for the group or individuals. When the kids do well, tell them not by just words, but by actions. Reward them. This is a great way to motivate them that they can succeed and do even better. It leaves one proud of him or himself. However, it's very important to ensure that the rewards don't overtake the mission for running. So keep it simple and don't overdo it. If it is overdone, the kids will only be motivated as long as they will get that reward. If there's no reward, then they are not interested. Always do it wisely.
So Justin, I remember the one time we ran a race, and we went to after the race in Middletown. We went to some store, and he saw like the Civil War set there, the DVD set, and he wanted it. And I was like, oh, that's a nice reward for you running today's 5K race. So I bought him that. Not a typical reward for an average kid. I think Justin, our son, really liked the fact that he could get medals. And he's a very competitive kid to begin with.
His whole room is all medals and trophies
and awards, and so for him, walking out with a medal, an award, something like that was really motivational for him. And when he was 9 years old, he did King of the Mountain, which was 5 mountain races throughout the valley here, and he was the youngest kid ever.
And he got like a huge
trophy that day.
He loved that.
And he loves his trophy. So that's really his reward is.
And you know what he even just said recently about a soccer tournament? He was mad because his team was fooling around against a local team. And they were fooling around, and it was for 3rd or 4th place.
And he wanted the 3rd place.
And he wanted the 3rd place trophy. And he was mad, and he actually walked off, and his response was, well, I just wanted a trophy.
Yeah.
So that's interesting.
Yeah, so.
5 is emotional support. When kids have their guardians, moral and emotional support, they tend to be more successful in whatever they are pursuing, in this case, running. Ensure it is the total responsibility of every parent or guardian to ensure they sometimes avail themselves during these kids' practices and always during their competitions. If running is being done for any other reason, let the parent run with the kid and show them how it's done and why it's done, especially for health purposes. Just develop a strong cheering squad. This has been known to work for many years, and it's fun too.
I think that's the one thing that we always did with our kids. We ran with them. We were always part of it. It wasn't like they were out doing it themselves. They saw mommy and daddy running. Mommy and daddy did the races. And now we're like, do you want to run with mommy and daddy?
They don't want to so much anymore. But I did read something recently that says you should tell your kids all the time you can't wait to see them do whatever sport again. So in this case, it's running. I can't wait to see you run again. I can't wait to be out there cheering you on
in baseball
while you're running or whatever it is in whatever sport. And that is really important that kids know that you enjoy watching them and helping them. So number 6.
Measure progress. That's a big thing for me. I like progress. I'm a numbers guy with Strava, with any kind of these apps, Nike Fit, Runkeeper.
Justin writes on the back of some of his bibs when he was younger.
He used to take his bibs and write his time on it, and then like next race he was doing, he'd look at his time, he'd go back, and
he'd say, "Oh, I'd like to be better this time."
Right, exactly. So he did monitor even before the gadgets were there 10 years ago.
So keep a record in order to track the progress for the kids and identify where they need improvement. I do that a lot with Justin in his sports. I'll say, "Oh, you scored 10 points last game, why don't you score 12 points this game?" Or, put yourself into a goal or whatever it might be. And he does it with himself. He's, of course, much older, but I think this they're talking about is starting when they're younger. So,
Number 7, expose them to older mentors.
Which we've always done with our kids. Let the kids learn from great retired athletes who have achieved great medals in the past and share their experience. Let them participate or spectate in major regional or national events to witness what exactly happens at higher levels. And Justin has met the Olympic runner.
Yes, he's met the Olympic runner. Yes, Frank Shorter.
Frank Shorter. A few times he's gotten to take a picture with him.
Yes. And that was big motivation for him.
It was. It was. For the next year, he wanted to be down there with him, and he wanted to be not third, but he wanted to be second. And I think he was the next year second in his age category. So
we've been fortunate enough to know some really acclaimed runners like Frank Guiliano, who had the record running cross country from California folks to New York. He did it in 79, but broke the record in 1980 and just held the record until 2016, late 2016. So this was a record that was around for over 30 years. And we took Justin to buy shoes from him. And Frank was a very good mentor for Justin.
Yes, he was. And actually, Justin went in to see him yesterday. I didn't even go in. And I'm sure Frank was just like, wow, are you tall? And, look at you now. So.
And we know a lot of other really good runners. Ken Posner, who has set lots of fastest known times on some really tough terrain courses, including the Badwater Double, which is a 270-mile trek. And California.
And I think it doesn't only go with running. I think you can use this article for anything. And even this morning I sent Justin an article about a local Hudson Valley kid who is trying out for the NBA, right?
NBA,
He's being drafted to try out. And he's 20 years old, went to, a college nearby, and he's being drafted. And so he he knew who the kid was. He knew his name, and they had been talking about him. So, for me, when I find stuff like that, I'm always sending that to the kids because I want them to see that achievement can happen at all ages, and it can happen at any time, and they should keep their eye on them. For years, people told us that people would keep an eye on Justin if he continued to run. So.
Yep. Excellent.
So children won't always want to run. As parents and guardians and coaches decided wisely on how far you should push them, be careful and let them set their own pace. That's what the article says. The best thing to always do while introducing children to running is to educate them, motivate them, reward them, be involved, especially after a job well done.
Get your kids out there, you run, get them running.
No matter how you get them out there, even if they're walking running.
Running is one of those sports that it's a lifetime, I don't want to say it's a lifetime addiction, but it's a lifetime talent that at any age you can pick up again, whether you're 30. I didn't start running until I was 30.
Right.
And I'm 44 now.
I didn't start till I was probably maybe a few years after you, 33, 34 maybe.
Right, and I've run maybe a dozen marathons in the last 12 years, and most of them were in one year.
And I don't love running. I do it because my family does it, and I do it to stay healthy. I don't love it. It's not something that I have to do all the time. When I'm around runners, I feel more energized, and I want to do it more. And so we happen to...
You like trail runs, though.
I do like trail runs.
Trail runs are totally
hiking,
different.
So I do like that. I don't like to... I'm not competitive, so...
But you don't have to be competitive.
Just go out there and have fun.
Yep, on
Get
trail
your
runs.
Kids out there.
Trail runs are great because you just go on your leisure. You take food with you, you have a backpack, take water with you, and you stop and see the views, take some pictures.
You can take your time. You can go a little slower.
Just one thing people have to remember on running is a mile is still a mile, no matter if you do it in 12 minutes or 7 minutes. A mile's still a mile. If you say, oh, I ran 10 miles today, people are going to say, well, what's your time?
Right.
Well, you should be going faster. No, you ran 10 miles. That's the bottom line. So don't let people hold you up on that. Distance is distance. A mile's a mile. Thanks for watching. I'm Chef Marcus Guiliano.
And Jamie.
If you like our videos, please hit like, subscribe to our channel. Check out some other videos that are posted here at the end.